Today, we're gonna go over a massive situation that was recently brought to light regarding how Roblox just recently lost over $12 million in a settlement that is going to fundamentally change the entire landscape of the platform. So we're going to look into how this settlement introduces very strict protections, including mandatory age verification for every single user on the platform, and massive restrictions on how users can even communicate with each other. And we will also cover the community backlash from creators and developers who are absolutely terrified about what this means for the future of their games. Now to begin, we're going to look through exactly what was uncovered in the initial reports regarding this lawsuit. So yesterday on April the 15th, we got news that Roblox reached a $12 million settlement with the state of Nevada. You might hear that number and think that $12 million is a massive blow to the company, but we have to look at the reality of Roblox as a massive corporate entity. As another user on Twitter named Cole pointed out, that $12 million is literally just a rounding error on the quarterly revenue of Roblox. And he's absolutely right here, because a company of that massive scale generates billions of dollars in revenue every single year. So the financial penalty here is basically non-existent for them, and it will not hurt their bottom line in any meaningful capacity. But we will go over where this money is going, because the details provided in the news article are quite interesting. According to reports, Roblox is going to give $10 million over the course of 3 years to support programs like the Boys and Girls Club and other non-digital activities. This is an interesting move, because the digital gaming platform is essentially being forced to fund offline real-world activities as a way to make amends for the alleged harm they caused online. On top of that, the settlement forces them to fund a law enforcement liaison position to specifically respond to the safety concerns about the platform, and they also have to fund an online safety awareness campaign. Now it's pretty clear that the state of Nevada is heavily focused on forcing Roblox to put their money directly into community safety and real-world programs rather than paying a simple fine directly to the government. However, this is where things take a very serious turn, because the penalty of $12 million is not the biggest part of the situation. The real story that is sending shockwaves through the entire developer community is the new platform rules that are being forced upon the user base instead of further litigation. As part of this agreement, Roblox is now forced to implement enhanced protections for minors. The absolute biggest and most terrifying change for many people in the space is a requirement of age verification for all users. So we have to think about what that actually means for the platform, where the news article explicitly states that nearly half of US children under the age of 16 play Roblox. Requiring age verification for every single person playing the game is an absolutely platform-changing decision, as it completely alters the accessibility of the platform for a massive portion of its player base. So the way they're going about this is incredibly invasive. Furthermore, the reports state that Roblox will implement facial age estimation technology to enforce these new rules. The backlash to this specific feature has been absolutely massive, as once again, the user Cole pointed out, earlier developers have literally been screaming on the developer forum for months about this exact issue. They've been warning the company that these face scans are completely killing player retention in social games. Obviously, people do not want to hand over a facial scan just to play a Lego game on the internet, and a lot of younger players simply abandon the game when prompted with a camera check. Now, because of this Nevada settlement, this highly controversial and privacy invading feature is going to be mandatory for probably everyone on the platform. Now, these extreme changes do not stop there, because the way users are allowed to interact with each other is being completely overhauled based on these facial scans. The facial age estimation technology is going to be used to limit younger users' chats to only those in similar age groups. If you're a younger player, you'll be completely segregated from interacting with anyone who's estimated to be an older age bracket. They're taking this a step further by mandating that adult users and users under the age of 16 will not be allowed to chat with each other at all unless they're communicating with a trusted friend. This completely destroys the fundamental core of how multiplayer servers on Roblox actually operate. The entire appeal of the platform is jumping into a random server and talking to people from all over the world, regardless of who they are. Now, the platform is going to be incredibly restricted and segregated based entirely on facial age estimation, and this is very bad news for developers who rely on massive social spaces for the games to function properly, because the player base is going to be entirely fractured by these new communication barriers. Going to another major part of the situation, we have to look at what they're doing to the accounts of these younger users. As mentioned earlier in my previous videos, Roblox is now forced to create specific kids accounts for users under the age of 16. These kids accounts are going to have massive restrictions placed upon them by default. They will block access to any adult-rated content, and they will only provide games that have been specifically vetted for suitability by the platform itself. Instead of having access to millions of user-created experiences, these younger players are going to be locked into a highly curated and heavily restricted version of the platform where they can only play approved content. This completely goes against the open sandbox nature of Roblox, where anyone can play almost anything they want. On top of this, they are also restricting nighttime notifications for kids, so they will not receive game alerts during certain late hours. They're expanding parental oversight to users under the age of 16, when that oversight was previously only available for users under the age of 13. The level of control parents and the platform itself will have over teenagers playing the game is being drastically increased to a level we have never seen before. You might be wondering how a settlement with just the state of Nevada could possibly affect the entire platform on a global scale. This brings us to the massive panic that started spreading on Twitter. A user named Christian replied to the initial Roblox Media post and asked if these horrific news updates were limited to just Nevada or if they were worldwide, to which Blox Media responded that it will be nationwide. This is an incredibly important detail to understand about how corporate settlements work in a modern internet era. It is very difficult and almost impossible for a massive global platform like Roblox and only apply them to users living within the specific borders of Nevada. It is far easier and more cost-effective for the engineering teams to overhaul the entire system and apply these new strict protections to the entire United States at the exact same time. This completely explains why this single state lawsuit is changing the experience for tens of millions of players across the entire country, regardless of where they actually live. So Christian reacted to this nationwide confirmation by declaring that Roblox is essentially dead. Massive creators on the platform are beginning to panic about what this means, so much that even Creepcraft, who's one of the largest Roblox YouTubers, responded stating that it's not so great if it all turns out to be true. Now the reality for Roblox is that Nevada is not even the only state going after them for these safety issues. The news reports also mentioned that the gaming platform is currently facing litigation in other states, including Texas and Kentucky, who are actively alleging that the company fails to protect children. Even if Roblox somehow managed to avoid implementing these changes nationwide for the Nevada settlement, the impending legal pressure from Texas and Kentucky would absolutely force their hand eventually anyway. There's a massive coordinated legal effort across the country right now to force these digital platforms to lock down their ecosystems and protect younger audiences from unregulated interactions. Finally, we have to look at how the actual corporate executives are responding to this situation publicly, and the tone of their response is disconnected from the panic happening in the developer community right now. The Democratic Attorney General of Nevada named Ford stated that this settlement would create a safer environment for our children online, and that he hopes that it will serve as a bellwether for how online interactive platforms allow the youth of the state to use their products. Then we have the Roblox Chief Safety Officer named Matt Coffin, who actually released an official statement about the agreement. He said that Roblox is proud to have worked alongside Attorney General Ford to reach this landmark agreement, and claimed that this massive shift builds on their previous work to establish an entirely new standard for digital safety across the internet. Kaufman even went as far as saying that the agreement creates a blueprint for how the industry and regulators can work together to protect children moving forward. While developers are panicking on the forums that mandatory facial scans are destroying their retention in their games, and massive creators are worried that the platform is dying, the corporate executives are publicly celebrating the settlement as a proud landmark achievement. They're absolutely trying to spin a massive legal defeat and a forced platform overhaul into a positive public relations victory for the company. But what else can you expect from them? Honestly, it's a typical PR stunt as usual. All in all, this situation exposes a massive shift in how internet platforms will be forced to operate. The times where we could just join a server and chat freely with other players without any barriers is soon coming to an end. As long as states like Nevada, Texas, and Kentucky threaten massive litigation over child safety, we will only see more forced facial scans, segregated chat systems, and extreme restrictions placed on younger audiences. It is clear Roblox is choosing to lock down their platform and sacrifice the open social experience just to keep regulators away. Now, it remains to be seen how players will react when suddenly forced to verify their faces to play games or speak with friends. But if the panic from developers and creators is any essential indication that things are going to go downhill, then this won't look too good. But anyways, with that being said, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.